everybody. Good night. What the heck? It's bouncing. It's bouncing, right? I heard myself. Good night, everybody. It's Fernando Sustaida. Today I have my special guest, Cordelia Blake. I've known Cordelia for what, 3-4 years already. I don't know. For a while, we met in a conference years back. We got to speak together, and we built a friendship from. But one thing about Cordelia is that she likes to go where deep down to the roots and how to make things happen that some of us don't like to explore, right? And she's a very good teacher. So I mean, she is very well explaining. That's why she has, the Scanner Society. It's still named Scanner Society, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay. Because I get confused with the monkey deal, and so it's like
confusing.
Yeah, so it's and it's a very successful membership for many years now. So, and it's because she puts very good content. So today we're going to be talking about brand registry on Amazon. As you know, I used to teach Amazon custom back when I started, and brand registry was a must for someone like me doing that business, because it would save me. At the time, it was only for the purpose of saving us UPCs, right? We were not that concerned about somebody stealing our designs. We were not that concerned about someone stealing our brand. Because it was still not the wild west is today on Amazon. It was still Merged by Amazon was still infant. It was like a month or two old. So it was mostly everybody who applied for brand registry at the time, it was used to get UPCs. That's all. We got a brand registry. We could create our own UPC numbers, whatever manufacturing number we wanted. Easy listing. We save a lot of money on on buying fake UPCs, because at the time we could also buy fake UPCs. Now you cannot. So it was for that purpose. But now it's a whole different thing. Now Amazon takes brand registry very serious. It takes it, and it's also to protect your accounts from copycats and other stuff. So it's a must do for anyone that is doing business on Amazon. And the process has changed a lot since I got all my brands registered. So, and it's something that I don't have any on my courses. So for you guys who are interested in that, you better be paying attention tonight, because this information you won't find it here if you follow me. You follow her, you'll probably find it somewhere else. But but with me going in circles, Cordelia, please say welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Is there a little feedback on my audio?
I think it's feedback from somewhere, but I don't know.
Okay. Well, hopefully it's not going to be disturbing to the people watching. It just went away, so I don't know. Maybe
it went away. I mean, when it started, it went loud, but now it's kind of gone. So
okay.
Hopefully it doesn't come back.
So yeah, Fernando and I have known each other for a few years. We've worked together before. And hey, Catherine. Hey, Glow. And so yeah, brand registry has changed a lot. And it's one of those things that, so my business has changed. All of our businesses have changed a lot, right? So I do have my membership community, Scanner Society, but I also do consulting now with brands and businesses to help them sell on Amazon. And then I also work with sellers to help them pivot or do bundles or whatever it is they're trying to learn. Because a lot of times classes are great, but you need that one-on-one unique support with your situation. But because I've now helped a number of clients through the brand registry process, we've kind of figured out a system that of how to do it. Now, one of the things Fernando said, which it's not that it's not true, but it's a little bit of a misperception. Brand registry really doesn't protect you from copycats. So if you have a design and then somebody else copies it on their brand registered listing, it's very hard to get that taken down. Not to say you can't, but then you're really working outside the Amazon system with attorneys at that point. The Amazon system will protect you if somebody comes on your own listing and says, I have the same thing. You can get them kicked off if they're not part of your brand. So you still have to control your products. You still have to manage your intellectual property, but it gives you a lot of benefits. There's actually a lot of benefits that people don't even hardly ever use. Like it comes with this amazing data resource called Brand Analytics, which most people don't even know how to use. It's incredible for product development. And it's totally free once you're brand registered. It's like as good as, I mean, I use Helium 10, but I also use Brand Analytics. They're both incredible data resources. You get different advertising access. You also get better help. So when you're brand registered and you go through brand registry support, you actually get better assistance than when you're going through regular Seller Central. So I think it's definitely worth doing, and the price is definitely worth it when you look at it compared to the cost of, say, I mean, take Helium 10. I love Helium 10. It's $100 a month. So that's $1,200 a year we spend just on Helium 10. Well, brand registry is less than $800. So compared to that, it's very affordable. It's just that you have to pay for it all at like one time versus, a little bit each month. So I have a slideshow, but let me talk a little bit about the costs of brand registry because I don't think I covered that in my slideshow. So let me just. So basically, it's technically free, but what you pay for is you have to have a trademark. And so if you already have a trademark, let's say you filed for one, I don't know, 2 years ago, and you already have it in your hand, you actually don't need to pay anything for brand registry. What you need to pay for is what most of us do is we work with Amazon's program called the IP Accelerator, which is their program. They partner up with law firms, and you work with one of their partner law firms. And then when you do it that way, they instant access you to brand registry. So your trademark might take you a year to actually get it, but you will have been in brand registry as soon as you go through the process with the IP Accelerator attorney. So that's what you're paying for is the attorney.
But we're talking about an actual brand registry, right? I mean, an actual trademark for a business name that you intend doing business as, right? No use those frivolous trademarks that everybody likes to file and print on demand for anything they use on a shirt. We're talking about the business name.
That's copyright. When you put something on a shirt and you try to protect it, that's copyright.
Everybody in Nurse My Amazon community trademarks every dumb thing that they use in shirts.
I mean, a trademark costs like the filing fee alone is about $400, and then you have to pay about $600 for the attorney. So it's about $1,000 for a trademark if you go through the IP Accelerator. If you go through a private attorney, it's going to cost you much more. The price that the attorney, I worked with an attorney for my first brand registry who owed us a favor, so he did it for free. Well, the second one, he's like, that's going to be $2,500. And so you can go through some of these online services for less, or you can do it yourself. But basically, you're paying about $600 or $700 for the attorney, and then the filing fee. So the thing where you put on your shirt "truth" and you try to make it so nobody can ever use the word "truth," that is not what I'm talking about.
I just wanted to clarify that. This is for brand name purposes.
Yeah. So you have your business name, which is like whatever it is, registered in where you live. And then you have a brand name. And you know what? Let's just go ahead and go into the slideshow because I do cover that in here. Okay. And this is a little bit different for print on demand. So I'm going to tell you guys what's different. The main thing is that for the purpose of brand registry, you need to actually order some product and have it on hand. And you're going to need to order packaging. So you can't just do brand registry virtually. You have to have physical product to do it. Now, you don't need to order all your products, but you need to have at least one thing in your hands and you need to have it available to sell. So brand registry is basically where you let Amazon know that you're the owner of your brand's trademark. And it's your little corner of Amazon. And you can get a storefront, you get all these benefits, but basically it's a tool to allow you to access and communicate with Amazon that you have legal ownership of your trademark. So the first thing, and this is what Fernando was talking about, is you need to create a unique brand name. And so it doesn't have to be your business name. It doesn't have to be your storefront name. It doesn't have to be that. But like for us, we do have our business name is one thing. We have our brand name, but like our website is under our brand name, our Etsy store is under our brand name, and our Amazon store is under our brand name. So we have that unified across platforms. But so pick a brand name that you like. The other tip is make sure it's short. Because for some of your listings, and it seems kind of random, I don't think it is random. I just haven't figured out the pattern yet. Sometimes Amazon will put your brand name at the beginning of the listing title. So if you name your thing, you know, my favorite tent, and your brand name is like, I had the client like this. She had trademarked as her brand name plus her tagline. So it was like a whole sentence was her brand name. And that was showing at the beginning of every title of everything she tried to list on Amazon. So make sure whatever your brand name is, it's short because it might be the first part of every title, and it will probably be in all caps because Amazon does that automatically. And I'm sure you guys have all seen that on Amazon where you see something weird in all capital letters that isn't in English. And you're like, clearly it's a Chinese like private label. And then boom, you know, the product name. So I would pick something that is, if it's not an English word, it's fine, but just have it like sound like a brand name and not just some kind of random assortment of letters. And you check USPTO, which is the patent trademark test database. And I can post a link to that in the comments if you want. Check Google and check Amazon and make sure no one else is using your brand name. And try not to like, so it's a big decision, your brand name, but it's also like sometimes people spend so much time trying to figure out their brand name that they don't actually ever develop their business. So make sure you have a balance of coming up with something that's meaningful to you, but also like just taking action and doing it. So you're going to need a logo for your brand. Now when you register for the trademark, you're going to do what's called a word mark registration, meaning that you're only going to register the words, not the logo. So you don't need, this doesn't have to be the best logo ever. It doesn't have to be your perfect logo. You can change it anytime you want, but this is the logo that you're going to print on your branded packaging. So you're going to want to have it be nice, you know, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So Canva, I think, has a tool inside of it. I don't use Canva, but I know a lot of people do. It has a tool inside of it, which is like a logo creator. You can hire somebody on Fiverr to do a logo for you. Do you use Placeit, Fernando, for your mockups?
Yes, Placeit has also a mockup generators as well. Yeah. Excels, I believe. Yeah, there is a lot of software that we use in the industry that has logo generators. And,
yeah.
And to answer the question that somebody asked is, does the brand name have to be with your niche, or can it be a general brand name? Actually, I'm going to here so you can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a niche. It just has to be something that you identify with, I guess, and that makes sense. You know, you're not going to be saying like the most delicious cookies in the world because it's niche. No, it's too long. It's too general. Doesn't identify with absolutely nothing, you know, but you're going to call it grandma's cookies. Now you're talking about something else, you know. So just think about a name that it's simple, easy to remember, doesn't take too much space, you know, and that makes sense.
Yeah.
Saying.
Agreed. If you look at any big company like Amazon, Walmart, Target, you know, they have a lot of brand names that are their private label brands. Like Target has one that's called Morona. Amazon has Solimo. So sometimes they pick words that are either they sound like real words, but they're not. But it's kind of short and to the point. So you don't want to get so hooked on your brand name of like your niche. I would say you might do something generic like best gifts, or, you know, you need to make it unique. So you don't want to make it too generic, but yeah, I definitely wouldn't niche too much down on your brand name. Agreed on that. So, you know, come up with a logo because you're going to need to order packaging. So the next step is buy branded packaging. So now I have a couple suggestions here. You definitely don't have to use these. But for many of us, we don't use branded packaging for all of our products. So I do mostly, I don't do a lot of print on demand. I do a little bit. Mostly I do actually, we stock everything that we sell. But we don't use branded packaging on everything. So for example, if we have a breakable product, our focus is on making sure it doesn't break versus having a pretty box on it. But for the purpose of brand registry, you need to have branded packaging. So Sticker Mule and Brandable Box both have low order thresholds. You can order like 50 or 100 units of poly bags with your logo on them, and you can just use them for this, and then you can do something else more long-term if you want. Brandable Box actually has really, we use their boxes a lot for some of the stuff that they only have certain sizes. So if your product happens to fit in their size, it's a good box to use. But anyway, those are both good places to get just, you know, a few units of packaging so you can use it for your application. So you're going to want to plan one product. So for you guys who do print on demand, you would just want to pick one of your print on demand products and actually, order a few of them. And that would be the thing that you're going to use as your listing that you're going to get brand registered with. This is all before you've ever registered for anything. Okay. So you've already got your note and your brand name. You've already got your packaging now. You've already printed out your shirts or whatever it is you're selling. So now what you're going to do is you are going to request a GTIN exemption from Amazon for your brand name, even though you haven't registered it yet. So you're still able to use it when you're creating products. And you would say, you know, this brand is owned by my company. And this is where it's really important that you have ordered actual product and you have actually ordered actual packaging and you're not doing mock-ups. Because they are going to want to see for your GTIN exemption a casual picture of your product in the package. So that means nothing Photoshop, nothing fancy, nothing that you would put on your website. This is like literally you holding in your hand with your dirty fingernails, like the package in your hand. So they want to the extent that they're able, they want to 100% know that you actually have that thing in your hands and it's real. So this is where it's really important that you can't have bags with stickers on them. You need to have a real thing that you're actually taking a picture of. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And this is by category. So if you sell, you know, like let's say you sell mugs and you sell mouse pads and you sell shirts, then you would apply for a GTIN exemption in each of those categories. So you would need to have something for each of those categories that you could photograph.
Yes, I mean you go for clothing, you have one. You go for drinkware, you go for houseware, and
right.
You have like mouse pads, you go for office, and so you got every time you want to add a product, you got to think about, do I already have the GTIN exemption for that specific category? But if you don't, let's say you want to add car mats, now you got to go and apply for automobile.
Exactly.
You got to be always thinking about where you're gonna apply.
Yes, and at a point, I completely forgot it. Yes, what he said, 100% right. Yep. So then you've done all that. You've now gotten your GTIN exemption from Amazon. And they actually have a form letter and you just copy it. So you just do the exact thing they tell you to do. And then you're going to list your product on Amazon under your brand name. So this is all before you've applied for a trademark or before you have applied for brand registry. And this is where a lot of people get mixed up because they try to do this stuff out of order and then they have to go back and start over again. So then you have a live listing now that you're selling. And that's important for the trademark application because you want to apply for a trademark. It's called an in-use trademark, not an intent to use trademark. And you're going to do word, not design. And then you have to pick what's called the class, which I call the category, but it's basically similar to Amazon categories. They have the same thing for trademarks. And then you go through the process with the Amazon Accelerator, and they will respond back to you, hey, your brand registry is being processed, and then you have access to brand registry on Amazon. So that was kind of a quick explanation, but it's really important that you do all those steps in the right order because if you try to do it out of order, you will learn the hard way, which is what we did after doing it out of order the hard way. We learned the right order to do everything. And you can reach me. I have a free Facebook group called Brand Building on Amazon. I've got a YouTube channel. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. So feel free to connect with me wherever works for you. I'm in Fernando's class. I'm in his group. So you can always tag me there, and I can also answer questions there. So that is my presentation. Do we have any questions? Do you want to turn off the...
Yes.
Yeah.
This is very down to the point. All the single steps. Thank you for the presentation. It was like down to the point. I know it sounds scary, right? When you hear attorneys involved, when you hear brand registry, when you hear trademarks, when you hear all those words. But when you're building a brand for long term, and when you're building something that you want to protect, you think about it, is no more than what, $1,200 if we go with the attorney fees, the trademark fees, the sample boxes, sample product, and the time. We're not talking nowhere near $1,200. Now, of course, we're talking about someone who wants to do a serious business that wants to start, selling volume on Amazon. If all you want to do is just have a brand register, used to do, 1 or 2 sales a day selling on merch by Amazon, you don't need this. This is not for that purpose. This is for the purpose that you want to start doing some private label. You want to start doing some print on demand, but in a way that you can do fulfillment, or you can have a production partner that can satisfy Amazon's needs. You have the quality and the capital to withstand waiting for Amazon to pay you every 15 days or whatever they pay now. Because I can hear that some people have been getting the daily payouts again, and I'm not getting them. So I don't know if it's true or not. So, but you have to, it's a different business model than doing it on Etsy or doing it on Shopify. It always helps. It always helps to do that, even if you don't want to, and you want to do something on Etsy on Shopify. I mean, just going through the attorneys, as she said, through Amazon, it's a little cheaper than you go through the outside, and these guys to stream process it. So it's something to consider, for your business. Does anyone have any questions that you would like to ask Cordelia? Quite a few people are watching live, so I'm pretty sure somebody has a question.
So I think what Fernando made a really good point, which is why would you apply for brand registry, which I didn't really cover. This was for people who were like ready to do it. But he's right. If you have like a brand that you're investing in long term, you want to trademark it. If you're selling on Amazon, they want brands to register. All their new everything, all their magic juju is going to people that are brand registered. So if you have any desire to long-term sell on Amazon, you have got to get brand registered, because they are just making it harder and harder for non-brand registered sellers to get support, to get resources. They're killing our product descriptions, and they just want us to use A+ content. I mean, there's all sorts of things that come with brand registry, and Amazon wants us to be registered. So I strongly recommend it if you are planning on an Amazon business, that you be brand registered. And then there's so many tools. Like one of the other tools they have, after you've been brand registered for a while and you have some data for your own products, they will tell you what other things people bought when they bought your product. And it's not always the competition. So for example, let's say that you sell like a first aid kit. Well, maybe you were trying to compete against other first aid kits, right? Well, it turns out people are buying your first aid kit, then they go buy a tent or whatever. Like they decide not to buy the first aid kit and they go buy the tent. So what is that telling you? It tells you that people are buying first aid kits when they're planning camping trips. And this actually happened to a friend of mine. So she started running ads for her first aid kit in camping supplies. But she would have never thought of that if it hadn't been for that data in brand analytics. So for people that are into data, there's a lot of data that just comes 100% included with brand registry. There's very little education on how to use it, partially because I think the people that are really good at it like to keep it close to the cuff, and partially because we sign an agreement that says we won't, like, I will never screen share my brand registry with you because I don't want to lose it. I can screen share Helium-10 all day and night, but they have a big thing that says this is confidential, and if you share it, you will get in trouble. And so most of the educators I know will talk about brand analytics, but they won't actually do like screen shares and education on it because it's proprietary. And Amazon says that they'll come after us, but it's so amazing. So there's a lot of
need a confidentiality agreement from Amazon. You haven't never read one. You will get scared to get sued the way they write it. I mean, when I went inside their Merged by Amazon facilities, what they made me sign, I actually had to run it through my attorney to say, hey, should I go? Because I speak publicly and things like that. So what is the gray area? And he got to literally say, okay, yes, you can go, but you have to avoid this, and that. It's very strict. So do not take for granted when Amazon tells you that that you cannot share this information. They will go after you if they know that you do it. They are serious about it, and they don't care. The cost is more about keeping the brand protected. So always take those, never take those things for granted. When they send you an NDA or they tell you like specifically, hey, do not share this. It's not about losing your account. It's the last thing you should be worried about. It's about the punitive damages that they can make you pay for them, and it will be way more than your store ever made.
Right.
So, I mean, I always hear people in some other community saying, oh, no, I cannot share because I will lose my account. Your account to them is irrelevant. It's the information that you shared that is what matters to them, and they will go after.
We have a question from Susan about her trademark. So she says she's had a trademark on her.
I'm sorry. You got me by mistake. Sorry.
Oh, she has 3 different niche stores on Etsy, which she put those under one brand name on Amazon. So if you already have a trademark and you like it, you don't actually have to go through the IP Accelerator at all. You can just show your trademark to Amazon, and you'll just get in. And it's free. The one thing about that you have to keep in mind is on Etsy, there's still some store identity, right? So, and there is kind of a store identity on Amazon, but it's still very keyword oriented, your sales. So it's not really a big deal to like put all your different niches stores into like your one account on Amazon until you get to like a pretty high level on Amazon, because most of your listings are most likely going to be found by keyword, people looking for the thing itself, not your store name. So as long as you like it and you're good with it, it's certainly a great place to go. And you can always add more. You can add as many trademarks as you want. Like look at Walmart. They have like a gazillion. So you can always expand and have more trademarks and more brand names as you grow.
Yeah, there is no limit on, you can create you can register in Amazon more brands that you want to. It's more management for you, but you can do that. So, but it's entirely up to you. This is used for the purpose, of protecting your brand. They take you more seriously, and at the same time, you save a lot of money, in UPCs, a lot of money, especially when you're printing demand and you want to create, what is a UPC now? $20 right now?
I think it depends how many you buy.
Yeah, it's about an average of $20 each. So you want to create 1,000 products, that is $20,000. So no. And in print demand, believe me, it was a point that 4 years ago, I had 45,000 designs, on Amazon, not emerged by Amazon, and Amazon.com, because I had a production partner that we had a direct integration. And if I had paid for UPCs for that, even if they had been fakes on eBay, it would have been super expensive. And because I registered my brand one, I was protected with my brand, and second, I was, exempt from having to use the UPCs, which now they're not allowed, the fake ones. Now you gotta get them from their original source, and they're not cheap. So it's one of the deals that you do that. So I mean, we covered a lot of different reasons why in this conversation. And hello, Callie. We have a lot more people join. So you have any questions for Cordelia? Please feel free to ask them.
It looks like Glow has a question.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Can you get started and trademark after, or suggest do it before or as you get started? So you can. So one thing you really can't do is, and that's why I showed you the order where you create. You're buying your packaging and you get your product first, and then you list it, and you apply for your GTIN exemption, and then you apply for your trademark. There's a reason why it's in that order. I can explain it, but it's basically that's the order that works. So you're definitely going to want to get started first and then trademark after. Now you could get started with one listing, or you get started with multiple listings. I will say that once you become brand registered, the process of getting your current listings added to your brand registry, it's a little bit of a pain in the neck. So if you had like 200 listings that were all created before you were brand registered, you can get those added to your registry. It's just a little bit of administrative work and going back and forth with seller support, but you can definitely do that.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with seller support. The less I deal with it, the happier I will be. Yes. I mean, it's a decision, right? To get brand registered for Amazon, I believe that it's going to make your life a lot easier. It's going to make it more real. And also, you always have to remember, right, that when you open a business on Amazon, it's an asset. And if any day in the future you decide that this is not the business you want to do, you are brand registered, you have a brand recognition, you have a good sales record, you can always sell your store, at a decent price if you have gone through all those hurdles of getting everything done, and you have a good standing business. It's a sellable asset. So it's not like it's going to be wasted. And a lot of people rather buy a store that is already registered and all this stuff than to have to go through all the processes of having to get ungated, having to do all this deals. So it's something that you should also consider, that whenever you establish a business, is if what is your exit strategy, and if the exit strategy is going to be, you're going to be able to monetize it. And and Amazon, when you build it as as a business entity, is something that you could eventually do a business ownership transfer, and you can always monetize that, and it has value also to your company, right? So having a trademark business is it takes more. It's also a trademark is an asset also when you go into accounting and stuff like that. So it's something that you want to talk about also with with your accountant, and what is the benefits of all this stuff, because it has some benefits as well.
And also talk to your insurance agent. A lot of people don't realize that when you list yourself as a brand name for a business, you assume liability as the manufacturer. So make sure that you have the right kind of business insurance, and make sure that you've talked to your insurance agent and they understand what you do, and make sure that you're covered.
Yep, I forgot about that little part. Yeah, because yes, insurance. I know a lot of people don't consider insurance when we're doing print on demand, and yes, we don't have to have insurance when we're doing royalty base at all. But when we are doing, print on demand, even though we're using a third-party supplier to produce it, we have some level of liability. We're the company selling it. We are to put in even if it's not a brand register, we're a brand that is having a product for sale, and we are trusting our production to XYZ company. So a lot of people say, well, they're going to sue the company to print it. No, they will sue you, and then you will sue them. So it's good to
always sue everybody. They'll sue you, they'll sue the company, they'll sue Amazon. And I had one attorney tell me that she said, even if you win a lawsuit, it can cost you $90,000. Like, just because you're not at fault doesn't mean it's free.
Yes. I mean, defending yourself sometimes is more expensive than accepting guilt. So, and it's sad, but sometimes it's the way our government works. It's when somebody wants to do a frivolous lawsuit on you, the cost of defending, even when you're right, is still a cost. So having the good insurance, and business insurance is not expensive. It's something extremely affordable, because we're not talking about, our sales volume is so small compared to an actual business that, I mean, every state will have different, so I won't even say how much it is, but it's extremely affordable to have, and it's something that I would say everybody should consider, especially your selling X volume, or with a product that that it could cause any injury, like glass or things like that. So.
So we have one question from somebody: do I need to be an LLC or an SCorp for a print-on-demand business? So anytime you operate a business, you have a choice as to how you operate it. So you can operate it as a sole proprietor, you can operate it as an LLC, you can operate it as an LLC functioning as an SCorp, and you really shouldn't take any of our advice about how to do that. You should just talk to your accountant and figure that out.
The difficult thing about talking about this, and I cannot see your name because of Facebook, is every state has different rules and regulations on LLC and SCorp, and and how it affects other states. So me giving you advice would be basically based on my county, my state, and how these things work here. So me telling you go and do that, it will be giving you wrong information, and it can be mistaken. But one thing I'm going to tell you, that if you run business and you're a self-owner and self-employee and need something like that, you always want to consider an LLC or something similar for payroll purposes, more than anything. When I started my business as a sole proprietor, I had zero credit because they didn't accept my income as a business, as a self-employed, as income. So when I went and got my LLC and I started giving myself salary, now they, out of the blue, even though it was the same source and everything is the same, and even though the same money was going back to my business, they consider that as income. So that is the number one reason why most entrepreneurs go to LLC, is just because that is a must, especially if you're looking to buy a house or a car or something in the United States. You need that. But any other benefit in tax-related purposes, talk to your accountant, and they will tell you you need one or not for these purposes. You don't need it, to get started.
Right.
But do you want it is a different question.
Yeah, exactly. And it also depends on like your family's financial situation in terms of whether you want to do an LLC or an SCorp, and if you're gonna, like, there's a lot of complexity to each unique situation. So it's better to get some professional advice for sure.
Yes, and most tax attorneys, they will give you a free consultation, or they will charge you very little to give you a consultation for this purpose. So I mean, you can call and they will tell you, like, usually the first call is free, so you will get an idea you need it or not. If they want to charge a lot of money, go and ring another one, and they will give you advice for free. So it's not something that you need to spend just to get the right answer. Anyone who has any more questions? I mean, we have a good number of people watching. I'm pretty sure. I mean, even if you want to know if Cordelia sings or something, ask it.
I don't sing. It does not happen. It is not required to have one for print on demand. It's for your protection and your personal asset protection and your personal business protection. But you can open up like a print on demand account. You can do all that stuff without having any business identity. So
you don't need an LLC to start any business. You can go on Amazon. You can, I mean, even if you want to sell anything, you don't need an LLC. You can do it as a sole proprietor, business. What the deal is, your liability and your tax liability. Like liability, I mean, like, if you're a sole proprietor and somebody they sue you and your property and your personal assets. When you have a company, depends on the company and the state, they can sue you. They don't sue you. They sue your company and the company's assets. So And in some states it might be different. It might be the company asset and secondarily your assets. So that is what I said. Go and ask someone. But usually we open companies for the two purposes: asset protection, so that they can sue the company, and second, we open it for payroll purposes. So that we can have an issue. Some people may argue the double taxations and stuff like that. So, but that is, again, every state is different.
So I'm going to give you guys a quick verbal preview of brand analytics data, and then I need to scoot. But if you have any more questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and I will circle back after tonight. But so one of the reasons why brand analytics data is so good is the only data source that ties directly into Amazon's actual data. So like all the other software providers like Helium 10, Jungle Scout, all those guys, they're extrapolating their numbers. But Amazon's own software comes from their own data. So for example, you can pull historical data for all the keywords that people typed in related to a particular word or phrase, say during Q4 of 2019. Or 2020. So let's say that you sell, posters. You could put in the keyword poster, and you could put in the timeline for Q4 of 2020 or 2019 or both. You could run two different reports, and you could actually see what were the most highly searched for phrases on Amazon that contain the word poster during last year's Christmas season. And it's incredibly valuable information if you're trying to figure out what posters to sell this year. And they even tell you the top 3 selling ASINs for each search term. So let's say that, somebody puts in a poster term like, I don't know, lion poster. Well, you could see that the first 2 were from the Lion King, and one was just a photograph of a lion, for example. So you really can get a lot of good stuff out of brand analytics that can help you develop new products and understand what people actually search for, what they typed in the search bar, during specific time periods. You want to know what people wanted for Halloween? You go do a search for the 6 weeks before Halloween or the 8 weeks before Halloween. Same with any holiday, Mother's Day, and it goes back a couple years. So you can really get some good results.
Susan is asking a question. Any problem with having existing merch products added to brand registry? Would it be a second copy of the same design as it's already on merch?
So merch and brand registry do not play nicely together. So if you're going to sell print-on-demand products on Amazon, what I'm talking about is like if you go through a third-party provider, like Printify or something like that. Printful, that's what I'm thinking of. Merch does not work with brand registry, and you're not at all protected when you're a merch seller. So merch is a great way to play around and see if you really want to get serious about the business. But once you do, I strongly recommend you move your production off of Amazon, because they don't give you data, they don't protect your listing, blah, blah, blah. Fernando could go on about all that stuff, but you can't brand register those listings. You can't stock them. You don't own that design. So I do not recommend that, as it's a good way to start if you're just learning, but it's not a good way to scale.
Expanding on that question, it has also another question inside a question. You cannot duplicate listings, period. They don't like it. They don't like it on Amazon. They don't like it on Etsy. They don't like it anywhere. It makes the algorithm and the SEO compete against each other, and it's no good. So either you have it on merch or you have it on Amazon on Seller Central, but you cannot have it on both. So because it is, you can have the same design, it's not the same product. They don't like it. I got a warning about it, about 4 or 5 years ago, the same topic. That they were like, because somebody actually messaged Amazon saying same product, different prices, different listings, what is the deal, and they connected, because Seller Central and my merch account were in the same email. They actually contacted me and said, hey, what the heck, what is going on? And I said, okay, I remove one. So ever since that, I used to have, I don't do merch anymore, but I used to have my merch by Amazon to test, Once I got a couple of sales on that, I would put it on my Amazon Seller Central, and then I would start selling that shirt, and I would remove it from merch, because exactly because of what Cordelia just said. You have zero analytics on merch by Amazon, but in Seller Central you have all you need. So you will not get still who the customer is. You will not get a lot of information, but you got a better idea. And even when you run ads, you get a better idea of how those ads are doing than when you go and on AMS. AMS is very archaic compared to to the sponsor ads in Amazon. Even though there's the same company, it's incredible.
Yeah.
But it makes, and they're actually cheaper. I think sponsor ads is cheaper than AMS as well. I don't know, but I don't like to cross them. But because it happened, to me, and I was told that not to do it. I don't know if any other people have had that. Maybe because it just happened to me, but it could happen to anybody, I guess. If no more questions, I know Cordelia needs to go. It's very late for her. She's usually
it's my bedtime.
she's past her bedtime. Our Facebook account glitched and moved the time 1 hour later, so we didn't want to change it for you. It's been doing it a lot lately, so it's just they're doing so many changes in the system that everything is just glitching all over the place.
Yeah.
So Cordelia, I want to thank you for your time. Do you have any last words, any last piece of advice before we wrap this up?
No, it's just we're going to be launching in the next few months a brand registry program to help support people in going through this process. It's going to be a combination of a course and like extra support. But in the meantime, if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up. And I'd love it if you guys followed me on YouTube. You can subscribe to my channel and hit the little bell. I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. So
just have to share it.
Cordelia Blake TV on YouTube, and I do educational videos about every week on there for free. So that's the easiest way to stay up. So, all right. Good night. Fernando, it was so good to see you.
Same. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.